Am I the a-hole for telling my wife the lock on my daughter's door does not get removed till my brother-in-law's daughters are out of my house? My brother-in-law Sammy lost his home shortly after his divorce 10 months ago. He moved in with us and brought his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, both 18, with him a couple of months ago. His sister, my wife, and I have one daughter, Zoe, 16, and she and her cousins aren't close but get along fine. Now, Olivia and Sloane have no respect for Zoe's privacy. None. They used to walk into her room and take everything they get their hands on. Makeup, phone accessories, clothes, school laptop, etc. Zoe complained a lot. And I've already asked the girls to respect Zoe's privacy and stop taking things. My wife and Sammy saw no issue with this. After all, they're girls, and this is typical teenage girls' behavior. But I completely disagreed. Last straw was when Zoe bought a $60 MAC makeup kit that looks like a paint set. That she saved up for over a month, and one of the girls, Sloane, took it without permission and ruined it by mixing shades together while using it. Don't know much about makeup, but that's what Zoe said when she found a kit on her bed and was crying. I told my wife, and she said she'd ask Sloane to apologize, but I got Zoe a lock after I found she was moving valuable belongings out the house because of this incident. Sammy and his daughters saw the lock and weren't happy, and the girls were extremely upset. Sammy asked about it, and I straight up told him, but he said, my daughters aren't thieves. It's normal that girls of the same age borrow each other's stuff. Then he said Zoe could easily get another makeup kit for $15 from Walmart, and shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place, and suggested my wife take care of this defect in Zoe's personality trying to appear older than she is. Then he accused me of being overprotective and babying Zoe with this level of enablement. I told him this is between me and my wife, but she shamed me for putting a lock on Zoe's door for her cousins to see and preventing them from spending time with her, saying I was supposed to treat them like daughters. Then she demanded I remove it, but I said this lock does not get removed till her brother and his daughters are out of our house. She got mad I was implying we kick them out and said her family will hate me for this. So I reminded her that I let Sammy and his family move in, which is something her own family refused to do. So she should start with shaming/blaming them for not taking their own son and nieces/granddaughters in. If it wasn't for her family's unwillingness to help, we wouldn't be dealing with this much disturbance at home. Now everyone's been giving me and Zoe silent treatment, and my wife is very much upset over this. Now for the top comments. Not a hole. Don't back down. You are the only one sticking up for Zoe. If her cousins want to use expensive makeup, give them your wife's. I guarantee she won't appreciate sharing anymore. They need to start behaving like appreciative guests. I love this idea. Not today, LOP. You have your daughter's back and totally get her need for privacy and autonomy over her stuff. I'm disgusted that her own mother isn't more supportive. Please lend some wife's makeup to the twins, because obviously it's what girls do, isn't it? They love to borrow and use each other's stuff, without asking. Not. Bonus if Opie goes into Sammy's room to borrow things without asking. Underwear, an expensive watch, or something. Returning it with visible wear and tear. Not a-hole. Your wife harbors someone who tells you that Zoe has a defect in her personality for buying an expensive makeup kit? That's the kind of thing that has people thinking about divorce. Exactly. As a mother myself, I cannot fathom how any mother would let someone treat their child like that, even if it's his family. That would have bought them a one-way ticket out of my front door. If your kid can't count on you to protect them, who can they count on? Not a-hole. Not a-hole. Your daughter doesn't feel like she has any privacy or respect in her own home, and you gave her a lock to give her back her privacy. You tried talking to your wife, your brother-in-law, and your nieces, and that got you nowhere. If your daughter has to accept 3 additional adults living in her home, they need to accept her very reasonable boundaries with not taking and ruining her things. Good for you showing your daughter you respect and support her. They are 18. This is 100% vindictive. Mixing and destroying a new palette and leaving it on Zoe's bed screams of malice. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for abandoning my roommate because her mother ate my lunch? My 23 male roommate's 22 female, mother 42 female, has been heavily overstepping and consuming all the food that I cook for my meals when I'm going to work. For context, her mother is also technically a roommate as we split the rent 3 ways. with me paying half and her daughter paying a quarter each. To get her mother to agree to pay half of her rent, my roommate, a longtime friend from college, begged me to let her mother on the lease, as this was the only way she'd agree because she wouldn't pay for something that wasn't hers, and so now her mother comes and goes as she pleases. The problem arises because I cook and I'm fairly good at it. I'd have to because my workplace is isolated and there are no restaurants nearby that I could make it to on my hour for lunch. I wake up at 6 a.m. to make sure that my meals are ready, because I'm a picky eater and the things I like are fairly complicated. Now, roommate's mom has been serving herself for my meals. It started small, and I was okay with that because I sometimes have leftovers. However, certain dishes do not permit that, and now she has taken to eating out of my packed lunches when there's no leftovers, saying, "Sorry, I was just so pickish." Or, "You know how I love your cooking? I couldn't help myself." After the second week of no lunches, I had enough and decided I would leave and pay off my part of the lease. I'm furious, but I do love my roommates as she's like a sister to me. She has recently found out that I'm looking for a new apartment, but thinks my reason is too petty. She said it's just food and I shouldn't abandon her over it. I have been having second thoughts about leaving now because I don't want to hurt her, but her mother is still doing it after having myself and her daughter confront her. Would I be wrong for leaving? Definitely not, Dayhole. A grown woman can't help herself and so she has to eat your packed lunches? Good grief, how bad is her impulse control? More likely, she respects you so little. It is so selfish she just doesn't give a damn if you're hungry or not. She feels entitled to the food. If your roommate can't even recognize how rude that is and stop her mom, then honestly, she deserves to be abandoned. Though if she's a real friend, she'll understand and continue to socialize with you after you're out. My money's on she's not a real friend though. I'm hoping my roommates will remain my friend and understand, but the comments here are really solidifying my decision. Her mother doesn't even get mad when I confront her. She just laughs it off and does it again. I'm really just tired at this point, but I will miss my roomie if our relationship suffers because of this. Not Dayhole. You weren't looking to kick them out. You were looking for your own place where you no longer have to worry about people crossing your boundaries. Her mom knows exactly what she's doing when she has eaten the lunch you have prepared for yourself the next day. Her daughter may not understand and thinks it's a selfish reason, but it's a valid reason. What starts out as food will turn into something else. She's eating all your food and borrowing/taking all your things, and you'll be petty for being upset over it. This has also been a worry of mine. It started with the leftovers, but has escalated to my packed lunches. I don't believe her mother would ever steal from me, but I worry she may start feeling entitled to my food and start pressuring me to cook for her as well. She can't see how this is wrong and boundary stomping? It is enough reason to leave her. She has no concept of how to treat other people. She herself is a very good friend to me and has never done anything like this. Her mother is also a very sweet lady most of the time. Except for this, it really was a perfect living situation. Which is why I think it's so hard for me to make this decision myself. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting off the lease and leaving my roommate to fend for herself? Okay, I know the title seems bad, but hear me out. My friend female 19 and I female 19 decided to move in together this May. We've known each other for more than a decade, and I consider her one of my best friends. We always talked about living together, and 2 months ago we got an opportunity and made it into reality. We signed a 1-year lease on a 2-bedroom apartment not too far from our college and jobs. Well, yesterday she comes into my room and says she wants to talk to me about something. She reveals the actual reason for her moving out of her parents' house was because she's pregnant. Her dad is the type of guy that thinks if you're grown enough to have relations, then you're grown enough to live on your own. Not under his roof type of guy. Anyways, I had a load of questions. And eventually she revealed that she was almost 5 months along, and her boyfriend was moving in, and I was livid. She said it would be good for us because the rent will be cheaper, which is true, but that's not why I was mad. I realized she knew before signing the lease and didn't think to mention she was pregnant and moving someone else in. I'm sorry, but I did not sign up to be living in an apartment with some man and a baby. The main reason I moved out of my own home was because I'm the oldest of 4 younger siblings. There was too much going on at home, and I thought moving out I would finally have my peace. After we talked, we both went to our own rooms, And after a couple hours, I called to talk to her again and made up my mind that I do not want to live here anymore because of the obvious circumstance. She got mad as expected, but most of all because she doesn't have much savings and was planning to rely on my share of the rent to stay afloat while she's on leave. I've already talked to the landlord about paying to break myself from the lease. I'm sorry, but I did not sign up for this. She claims there was no contract for not getting pregnant, but there is a contract in place for us, the lease. But I feel like that's common sense when you're living with someone. I feel like an awful friend because I'm not being supportive, but this isn't what I agreed to. I can see why she would be upset with me because of my sudden decision to move with 1 month notice. Especially since she doesn't have much savings and is expecting a baby soon. On the other hand, she should have been honest with her intentions of starting a family because I would have said no to moving in. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She didn't tell you before for a reason. She knew you wouldn't agree to it, and now wants to guilt trip you into staying? Not the a-hole. Also, if you were so good friends to move in together, why did she not talk to you about being pregnant and then later ranting about her dad kicking her out? Also, the boyfriend moving in without landlord approval, which sounds like she never was going to do, may get you all evicted since the lease is only for 2 people. Not the a-hole. She was sneaky. Did not disclose her motives or situation. You were not obligated in any way. Right. I'm sure she was counting on Opie for rent money and help with the baby. All without asking. The entitlement. Not the a-hole. I wouldn't want to live with a newborn either, and she was being deceptive. Boyfriend can make up the rent difference, especially as he'll be living there anyways. Unless he's jobless. Last story. Am I the a-hole for packing my roommate's things and leaving them in the hall while she was at work? So my best friend has been living with me for months since her parents threw her out. At first things were fine, but slowly started to change. She has mental illnesses, which I appreciate and understand, but she went off her medication, stating she could not afford the co-pays, which didn't make sense to me as she could afford to eat out nearly every night. Eventually, going off the meds turned her into a different person. She would drop her insulin needles on the floor, and no matter how many times I reminded her not to as I have a cat, she just said she either didn't notice or forgot because she's spacey. I'm not checking for dust with a white glove, but this is my home, and the place was constantly trashed. She never did her own dishes, left trash everywhere, and have eaten food in the fridge for weeks. It got so bad, I either had to clean up her messes or deal with roaches. There would be many days she would be in an awful mood, and I could do no right. If I gave her space, I was ignoring her and hated her. If I tried to talk to her, I was nagging and pestering. Eventually, I got fed up. I had tried over and over to have a conversation with her and ask for just minor changes. Get back on your meds, stop taking out your bad moods on me, and for the love of God, just clean up. We have roaches. Her paranoia had gotten so bad that she accused me of being her online boyfriend and catfishing her for over 8 months. Finally, one night, when she was in a particularly bad mood, she crossed a line regarding my cat. I simply could not take it anymore. She worked 12 to 7, and last week when she left, I called a friend. We packed everything she owned as nicely as we could and stacked it all in the hallway. I then blocked her and everything, locked my door and waited. She got home, saw her things, and threw a fit. She was banging on the door for over 3 hours. I did not leave or even respond as I didn't think there was anything to say. Eventually, she called her parents and went back there. At the time, it seemed like the best, cleanest, and safest way to do this, but some of my other friends think I was too harsh, and I should have given her more time or another ultimatum. I hate hurting people and feel awful, but I was ready to check myself into the psych ward, and I couldn't handle that line ever being crossed again. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Edit. There seem to be 2 questions popping up. One is what I did was perfectly lawful where I live as she was not on my lease, had never received mail and did not pay rent, so therefore was not considered a legal resident. If anything, I could have gotten in trouble for having her there. 2 is I did give her an ultimatum of a month, where she needed to have made a visible effort in getting better, and not only did that not happen and no change was even attempted, but she also crossed that line with my cat. She was aware this was a possibility as I did not do this with 0 warning. Not the a-hole. This was not a knee-jerk reaction. You gave her plenty of warnings, ultimatums, and leeway. This was a last resort after you tried everything else. You do not need to feel any guilt for looking out for yourself. Not Day-Ho. I bet the friends are saying that because she might come knocking at one of their doors next. And they don't want to take her in either. The nuance is that they know she's back with her parents. So these friends aren't even worried about that. They're expecting Opie to bend over backwards just so they don't have to deal with the drama of Opie's best friend complaining. It's the easiest thing in the world to be generous in somebody else's dime and labor. Depending on where you live, what you did might be an unlawful eviction. You did say she had been there for months. However, legalities aside, you did the best thing for you. And for your cat. Not Day-Ho. I looked into the laws where I live beforehand. She was not on my lease, had never received mail here and therefore was not technically a tenant. If anything, I could have gotten in trouble as my lease states one person living here. Where we live states that simply putting any amount of floor space aside for someone's personal belongings constitutes a right to tenancy. It is nuts. My BFF went through hell recently with her husband's cousin, and this was a concern. She is the salt of the earth. She and hubby had a cousin come out to work in their business. We're going to pay for his commercial road license, and we're not asking for rent, knowing what that would mean. The cousin blew the opportunity, and I think it was on heroin. Anyhow, they had to give him the boot, and she was terrified he was going to try to stay based on the fact that he had a spot in the office for his gear. It pays to know the laws. Not Day-Ho. You tried to do something nice for your friend and got burned for it. You gave her plenty of warnings, and she decided to ignore them. That is on her. Plus, it sounds like she was a danger to your cat. The friends who say you were too harsh should be able to offer her a room in their homes or pay for some nights in a hotel. Should be easy to do from up on their high horses.
Update. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after finding out she slept with someone while dating and lied about it? Original post. When I first started dating my now ex-girlfriend, things were going well. I liked her a lot, and pretty early on, I asked if she wanted to be exclusive. At that point, I asked her two simple questions. First, I asked if she was seeing anyone else. She said no. Then I asked if she had slept with anyone else while we were dating. She also said no. She did ask me why I brought that up, and I told her the truth. I told her that I don't see sex as just a casual thing. So, if someone is sleeping with other people while also dating me, that's a sign we're not on the same page. Either they don't see sex the way I do, or if they do see it the way I do, and still chose to sleep with someone else, then to me that means they picked someone else over me. Just to be clear, she and I hadn't slept together at that point. After that talk, we officially became a couple. We stayed together for a little over a year. Then I found out that she had slept with someone else while we were dating. I was honestly shocked. There was nothing she could say to fix it, but I gave her the chance to explain anyway. She told me it meant nothing, and that she didn't want to let something so small ruin what we had. She said I shouldn't throw away a good relationship over something so meaningless. But I told her she lied to me. I had been 100% clear about how I felt from the beginning. She knew what I needed, and she told me what I wanted to hear. That wasn't fair. She kept saying our relationship was good, and that lying was the right choice because it kept us together. But I told her I'm not going to act like lying is okay, just because we were doing fine otherwise. I ended it. Now, I'll admit, I do feel a bit guilty. Part of me wonders if I made the right choice. But she did lie to me about something I was very open and honest about. I feel like if I let that slide, it would mean my boundaries don't matter. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. How did you find out? I caught her in a lie about our dating life and another guy she was seeing. She said she hadn't slept with someone else besides me since sometime before her birthday, and we dated around her birthday, so I thought something was off. You're the a-hole. Before you're officially exclusive, anyone in the relationship can do whatever they want. She shouldn't have lied, but she's also under no obligation to tell you anything about her private life at that stage in your relationship. Actually, she is, simply because I asked. Neither you nor her decide what I want in a partner. If she wanted to be with me, this is her obligation. She could have chosen not to be with me if she thought this was unreasonable. Not the a-hole. How do they not realize saying it was meaningless makes it so much worse? She literally threw away a good relationship for meaningless sex. Well, to me, it doesn't have much of a difference. Meaningless sex. She doesn't see sex as intimate as me because I don't believe in meaningless sex when looking for a relationship. Meaningful sex, she had a close connection with someone else, and for some reason it didn't work out, leaving me a second choice. Now for the update. So my now ex came by to my place to pick up her things. Or well, at least that's what I thought she was doing. She said she still wanted to talk about us, that she wanted to stay together, and asked for a chance to hear her out. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I think on some level, I'm hoping to find something to change my mind. Despite what I may seem like, I do love her, but I don't think I can trust her anymore. Sadly, nothing she said really changed my mind. She actually used a lot of the arguments I heard in the last comment section. She told me that she knew the other guy better, but liked me way more, and that our relationship was way better than anything she had with the other guy. I told her that didn't change my mind because in my mind, she chose him before me. She told me that wasn't the case, and then I straight up asked her why she slept with him before me then. She told me that it was just different, and that it wasn't a comparison. I told her I didn't believe her. She then asked me what I expected her to do. If she told the truth, I'd have broken up with her, and she lied, I'd have still broken up with her. At that point, I knew I just wasted my time talking to her, and I asked her to leave. Thanks for all the support. I think my last post made me feel more ready for my ex's visit. I'm glad you stood your ground and didn't feed into her BS. I hope you find someone that actually respects the relationship. Best of luck to you. Exactly. She was trying to twist it either way to make herself look better, but none of it changes the fact that she lied and betrayed your trust. You did the right thing walking away. You deserve someone honest from the start. If she told the truth, I'd have broken up with her. This is her admitting that she manipulated you. If she respected you as a human being and not as a possession or an object, she would have told you the truth and let you make your own decision. Exactly. And since she wasn't apologetic, she wouldn't have been against manipulating OP again in the future to whatever suits her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for feeling betrayed after finding out my wife lied about wanting kids and hid an ex? I'm a 42-year-old guy, and honestly, I'm struggling right now. I need to get this out and hear some outside opinions because I feel completely lost. When my wife, 39 female, and I first got serious, I made one thing very clear. I wanted kids. I told her from the start that if she didn't want children, that would be a deal breaker for me. She said she wanted kids too, and that was part of what made me feel secure moving forward with the relationship. But after we got married, everything changed. She sat me down one day and admitted that she had never actually wanted kids. She said she only told me she did because she didn't want to lose me. I was shocked and hurt, but instead of walking away, I tried to be understanding. I told myself that maybe she was just scared at the time, or maybe things would change. Over time, I adjusted my mindset and convinced myself that not having kids might be okay too. The world is a hard place, and maybe it was for the best, or so I thought. Then recently, I found out she had also been hiding something else, something that hit even harder. Before we got married, I asked her more than once if she still talked to any exes or had anyone from her past still in her life. She told me no, flat out no. But a few weeks ago, I found out that wasn't true at all. She's actually been in regular contact with a guy she used to date. I'm not talking about casual messages here and there. I'm talking about daily good morning and good night texts, personal updates, and even emotional conversations. I also found out that before we met, he paid for her to visit him across the country multiple times. And this emotional closeness didn't end when we got together. It kept going for years into our marriage. Now, I'll admit, I found this out by checking her phone, which I know isn't a great move. I didn't do it out of nowhere, though. Trust had already been slipping, and something just didn't feel right. So I looked, and what I found broke me. When I confronted her, she said she lied because she knew I'd be upset. But here's the thing. I've always made it a point to stay calm during emotional conversations. I don't yell. I don't shut down. I talk things through. I listen. She didn't have any reason to fear my reaction, at least not based on how I've ever treated her. The truth is, she just didn't want to deal with the consequences of being honest. Now I feel completely betrayed. She lied about something huge, more than once. First about wanting kids, then about a long-term emotional connection with someone else. These aren't small lies. These are major things you build a marriage on. I'm sitting here questioning everything. How am I supposed to believe anything she says now? How do I rebuild trust when the whole foundation already feels cracked? So here I am. I don't know what to do. Am I the a-hole for feeling like maybe this marriage can't be saved? For feeling like I've been played, even though I tried to be patient and understanding every step of the way? Because right now, all I feel is hurt and lost. Now for the comments before reading the mini update. Unfortunately, your foundation is built on lies. She knew you wanted kids and she lied to keep you. That's manipulation. You could have found someone else and had children and a happy life, or you could have decided to stay with her. Problem is, she never gave you a choice. Keeping in touch with the ex in itself isn't that big of a deal, but she lied about it and continued to lie and lie and lie. Your question is valid. How can you trust her? And ask yourself what it would take from her to ever allow you to trust her. Is there anything? Are you willing to stay with her until she pulls the rug out from under you again? Marriage counseling could help, but only if she's willing to put in the work too. Not the a-hole. Yeah, I don't think it's possible to come back from stuff like this. In some areas, you might be able to get the marriage annulled, which may be legally better than divorce. Marriage under false pretenses is an illegitimate marriage. I actually do not believe in divorce outside of very, very narrow situations, but if you can get it annulled, do it. The ex thing is bad enough, but lying about wanting kids is absolutely terrible. That's one thing you cannot compromise on or change somebody's mind about. Like really truly change their heart and mind. I'm so sorry that you have found yourself in this position. This woman essentially conned you into marrying her and hope you're able to get this sham of a marriage annulled. Info: when did she stop being emotionally close to her ex? It's hard to tell from the way you word it whether this was still ongoing at the time you asked, as well as how much longer it lasted. It is still ongoing. She is unwilling to break ties with her ex. I only found out about him very recently. Unwilling to break ties with the ex means he means more to her than you do. I'm sorry, but your next move is clear. Lawyer, now. Mini update. The responses have been overwhelming. I am heartbroken and my emotions are in tatters, but this has confirmed what I already knew to be true. I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you for helping me see things clearly. Last story. Am I the a-hole if I tell my ex I will tell my brother-in-law about my sister's affair if she continues to see my daughters behind my back? My ex, 41 male, and I, 39 female, have 2 daughters, 7 and 9. After a not-so-friendly divorce, we are trying to co-parent in the healthiest way possible. During the divorce, his ego was hurt. He was financially abusive and started feeding lies to my sister, Esmer, 44 female, and her husband about me, that I used drugs, that I had affairs, that I wanted all the assets. It was all a lie, but I had to prove to the court that I wasn't a drug user through all kinds of testing. It was embarrassing and, honestly, very pricey to prove I was a healthy parent, but I did. When things calmed down, Esmer admitted many things to me, that she bugged my house, followed me around, etc. She did it because she wanted custody of my daughters. She was convinced I was the devil and that my daughters would be better off with her. My ex promised to share custody with her when he took them away from me. It was full manipulation, and she couldn't see it. My brother-in-law also felt loyalty to my ex, like some kind of bro code, and I was no longer welcome at their house. They said I was too promiscuous, living a single life to be around their kids. I am now in a better place. My daughters see their dad, but I have custody. It took a lot of therapy to rebuild us. After some years, I'm ready to start dating again. I matched with an amazing guy, and we hit it off. Due to work and kids, we couldn't meet immediately. But when we were coordinating our first official date, he added me on social media. And guess who I saw there as a friend? Esmer. I asked him, and he told me they had a 2-year affair, and he broke it off a few weeks ago. Esmer went into a full-blown toxic episode of jealous rage, as if she isn't married with a family. Of course, nothing will happen with this guy now. Yuck. I haven't said anything to anyone about the affair, but every summer, my ex takes my daughters to my sister's home. It bothers me when my daughters tell me this, because I'm not allowed to see her kids. But there's nothing I can do since I try to respect their father-daughter time. And of course, Esmer, her husband, and my ex are adults. I can't control their friendships. Now, am I the a-hole if I tell my ex I will spill the beans about my sister's affair if she continues seeing my daughters behind my back? Edit. My ex remarried right away and has 2 more kids. They all go to my sister's house too. Not the a-hole. You should not allow your sister to see your kids, period. Your ex needs to know that, and you're absolutely not the a-hole here. OP should absolutely out the cheater. She was fine believing OP was a cheater and tried stealing her kids. It's all fair game now. Normally, I would out her for her husband's sake, but he too is just a waste of space, clinging to his cheating wife. So OP out her, because let's go for petty. It's okay to be petty, now and forever. Not the a-hole. By her own messed up standards? She shouldn't even parent her own kid due to her promiscuity, let alone try and see yours. Can't wait to see where all that self-righteous energy goes once you confront her about doing exactly what she claimed you were doing. Not the a-hole. You have all the power now. That said, I tell brother-in-law before they get the chance to turn the tables on you and set it up like your lies. Hopefully you got proof from her affair partner to back up the claims. I do. A chat history with this guy, and he said he didn't mind sending over pictures together. I'd go scorched earth. Get copies of everything you can from him quickly before he changes his mind. Or before she catches wind and convinces him not to help you. I'd get receipts and do a social media post. Hey everybody, want to hear a funny story? Include screenshots and receipts. Write how you came across this guy, what he told you, etc. And say, she was the moral authority who tried to project her garbage ways onto me. The same garbage woman who partnered with my ex. Bet it was some kind of partnership with him too. Gross. Funny how the truth comes out. I wouldn't reach out to your ex directly. Let him hear about the post. If he's remarried, his new wife won't want any part of that drama. He won't go near her place again. Good thing the judge saw through her. Then her husband won't want your kids, or his kids, around her at all. And go no contact with your psychotic sister. She is truly a POS. And her husband? Send her husband the text of the affair. Be petty. Thank you. I am no contact for a couple of years now. That's why my initial question is if I tell my ex-husband, and not call her directly. Last I knew, we blocked each other. Now for the update. Thank you everybody for your love and support. I don't want to tell anyone around me since I don't want the rumors spreading like wildfire. So thank you for validating that I'm not entirely crazy. I'm no contact with her. That's why going to him might be the better option. A few answers to your questions. The guy still having her on social media makes me think they're still sleeping together and that's how they communicate. Toxic, I know. Brother-in-law doesn't have social media, so it sounds safe if you ask me. I don't think my ex and my sister had something, but I can't defend anyone. My sister faked being on my side during the beginning of the divorce just to get into my house. She would say stuff like, "Why are you going after half the retirement fund if you're the one leaving him?" Or, "Are you going to be that woman asking for child support? Where's your feminism?" And if I cried, she'd say, "If you're the one asking for the divorce, why are you crying? Suck it up." Also, brother-in-law is divorced with 1 kid from that marriage, and Esmer thinks if the ex-wife makes enough money, she so does, her family shouldn't have to carry the financial burden. So I always felt like she saw me as the enemy, the first wife. After the divorce, my sister and her family moved to another city a couple of hours away. I think the affair started when she was still here. But it's a small town, and the dating pool is horrible, so I'm not entirely surprised by the coincidence. My ex-husband likes going to the bigger town and visits Esmir, saying they're family. Update: I want to break up with my magician boyfriend due to his inappropriate magic trick. Original post: my boyfriend, 27 male, and I, 24 female, have been together for 1 year and 3 months. Our relationship has been very loving, but has started to get bumpy ever since we moved in together for our 1-year anniversary. A little backstory: I'm in college right now pursuing my master's degree in archaeology, while also working as a library clerk to earn money. My boyfriend works as a magician for parties and events. Despite our different career paths, I've never had a problem with his career choice because it makes him happy. He has always found a way to make every day magical, which has been sweet. About 9-ish months into our relationship, I had the opportunity to go on a 2-month archaeological excavation in another country for school. Despite us becoming long distance, he had no problem with me going and was very happy for me. He would send me gifts, letters, and even sent things for my colleagues to brighten up their days. While we were doing long distance, we made plans to move into an apartment together when I got back due to how much we missed each other. A few days after I returned, we moved in together, which has been awful so far. Before living together, we would see each other a few times a week due to my busy schedule. But now that we live together, we see each other all the time. And he has started to do magic all the time. He will make my keys disappear as I'm trying to go to work or school. He tries to practice his card tricks on me while I'm doing homework. He makes the cleaning rag vanish when I ask him to clean, and he recently did something that makes me want to end the relationship. I have never been in this serious of a relationship before, so I don't want to throw our loving relationship away just because of these bad few months. Last month, we were getting steamy and he went down on me, which isn't unusual. While he was doing that, he was saying some dirty talk here and there. I was lost in the moment for obvious reasons, but I snapped out of it when he said, "Oh, how did that get in there?" And I watched him pull a coin from my crotch. He found the coin moment hilarious, but it just took me out of the moment and instantly made me annoyed, so we stopped. Later, I told him that doing magic in the bedroom made me literally dry up, so I asked him to keep that kind of magic out of the bedroom. He explained that he was trying to make me laugh and have fun, and he didn't apologize for it. I talked with some of my friends about it and they thought it was funny, so I figured I was overreacting and needed to lighten up a bit. But he didn't do any magic tricks in the bedroom for the next few weeks. However, 4 days ago we were doing it, and he suddenly started to yell, "Ow!" So I quickly got off of him and asked what was wrong. He tells me, "I think there's something in you. Let me check." I laid on the bed like I was at the goddamn gyno because I trusted that if something was wrong, he would find it. After like 2 minutes, he says, "Oh, here it is." And I watched as he pulled up a long ribbon thing that kept going and going and going. It took a second for me to realize that it was one of his magic tools that he had purposely put in me while he was checking to see what he felt. He found it hilarious and couldn't stop laughing while he was pulling the string more and more. I ripped the thing out and yelled at him for doing another magic trick like that, even though I told him not to. He told me that he was just adding more fun to our sex life, and that he wanted to see what the magic trick would look like if it was coming out from a crotch. The original magic trick involves putting the coil thing in your own mouth and pulling out the plastic string for a while. I was mad, so I made him go stay at his parents' house for the past few days. This morning, I talked with him some more, but he still thinks it's not a big deal. I get that he's a magician and that he loves magic, but I'm still upset about him breaking that boundary I had set. I'm fine with his magic tricks 85% of the time, but sex is where I draw the line. I'm someone who needs to have a strong, trusting, and close relationship with someone before I can even think about sleeping with them. So him breaking my boundary has really hurt me, and I've lost my trust in him. However, everyone I have talked to about the situation says that what he did was hilarious. and I have been told by multiple people that I'm overreacting, which is why I decided to go to Reddit. We have built a strong relationship, and I really saw myself marrying him one day. I fully trusted him, and now I don't know if I ever can again. Should we break up, or can we fix this and stay together? I'm lost, so I'd appreciate any advice. Thanks. Now for the top advice before reading the update. The magic is gone. It's time for you to disappear. Yep, time to leave this act. I dated a magician. It didn't get this bad, but most of the daily life? Yup. You used to see him, now you don't. Magic aside, let me tell you, a partner who constantly plays incredibly unfunny jokes or pranks after you told them that you do not find it funny is exhausting and irritating. And that dynamic is really good at destroying any healthy relationship that might have been there. I've been with one like this, and I'm glad that I'm not anymore. Now for the update. First off, thank you everyone for the advice in the comments of my previous post. I was lost and looking for some advice because of the uncomfortable situation, and people around me felt differently about it than I did. People in the comments were right. I should trust my own feelings rather than search for answers from the people around me. That's something I've struggled with my whole life, because my family is very reliant on each other, and my parents are both helicopter parents. So I learned from a young age that I couldn't trust my own instincts, because other people know better, which is why I asked my friends and mom about the situation. I have a lot more work to do in trusting myself, but at least I'm working on it now. Here's what happened. After my previous post, I read through some of the comments and realized that what my boyfriend did would be considered assault. It wasn't something I'd even considered, because I was only seeing it as him doing something stupid in the bedroom that broke my boundary and made me uncomfortable. But seeing those comments opened up my eyes a lot. If he was willing to break my boundary after only a year of dating and could do that to me in the bedroom, then what else could he be capable of? I met with him the next day at our apartment, and I told him about my feelings, which he didn't seem to care about. I showed him the Reddit post so he could see that other people were also uncomfortable with what happened. He read through your comments, but when he saw the word assault being used a few times, he got really aggravated. I had never seen him that angry before, but he was screaming nonstop and even whipped my coffee mug across the room. I ended up crying because I was scared, and I think that snapped him back to reality or something, because he stopped yelling and started trying to comfort me. I made him leave our apartment again, because I didn't want to be around him anymore. That night, my friends helped me pack up my stuff and took me to my parents' house, which is where I'm at now. After I was out of the apartment and safe, I called him and broke up with him over the phone, because I didn't feel comfortable doing it in person after his previous reaction. I'm so upset that I wasted over a year of my life dating him, and even thinking about a future with him. Thank you all for giving me the courage to follow my feelings and break up with him for good. I really appreciate it. Also, thank you for all the jokes. They've lightened the mood and helped me feel a bit better about the situation. Yes, Azagreb, the magic is gone, and it's time for me to disappear. Bold strategy to prove he isn't abusive by chucking a coffee mug. Happy you are safely out of there, OP. And just like that, poof, the girlfriend disappeared. Ah, his greatest trick. Don't be upset about wasting time on someone. You're young and it was a year. These wasted times are so pivotal to us as adults. What you got from that relationship is a spine. You stood on your own 2 feet and said, not once but twice, this isn't an acceptable way to treat me and it isn't okay. This is a tool you will use for the rest of your life in many types of relationships. Don't feel sad. Feel empowered. Next story. Update. I just broke off my engagement with fiancé because he told me he wasn't ready when proposing. We're going to therapy, but I feel like I gave up already. Original post. Kinda long story, but I really need advice on this. Hi, so I 24 female and my fiancé, 26 male, have been together for 6 years, living together for 2 years, and engaged for 1 year and 2 months. We've been a really cool couple. Same sense of humor. We have common interests. We enjoy the same things. We're basically one person at this point. I thought we had great communication. Turns out I was wrong. The one thing is, I feel like his mother. He takes no initiative. He doesn't initiate physical contact, not even mention sex here, though that's a bigger problem. No initiative makes me feel really unattractive. He won't ask me out for dates, won't hug me or cuddle with me unless I ask. So I do it all. I arrange dates, I try to get closer, to communicate more. I decide what we do and where we go out, etc. Basically, he comes home from work, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, takes out his laptop and just does whatever. Probably just plays games. Then we fold laundry while watching a TV show and go to sleep. Pretty much just living like flatmates, or like a very old married couple. I tried to talk to him about it, but he'd always say he'll try to do better, and he would, for 2 to 3 months. Then things would go back to how they were. But here's what broke me. On Monday, I started the conversation again and tried to get him to act and agree to couples counseling. Well, we started talking about how he never mentioned getting married since the proposal. I'd started looking for wedding venues. I drove us to one and suggested we book it, and he said he'd rather see more before making a decision. I asked him to look for something, and we could go check it out, and he admitted that he hasn't even Googled anything since September. And he basically told me he proposed because he felt like I expected or wanted it, while he wasn't 100% ready. I took the ring off, saying it feels like a lie, because it meant something different to him than to me. And he took it, said, "I promise you, I'll give it to you when I'm ready." So he wasn't ready 14 months ago, and during those months, nothing changed, and he still isn't ready to be engaged. I've loved this man for 6 years, but now it turns out he proposed because he had to, still had doubts, and let me look for wedding stuff, create Pinterest boards, and make guest lists, while knowing it was all built on a lie. It feels like I proposed to myself, while he just stood by and watched. We have couples therapy today, just like he booked on Monday, but now I have no idea what to do. I agreed because I wanted us to work out the initiative thing, but that was before I found out he didn't really want to be engaged. I'm going there today, and I feel like I'm lying to him because I don't think I can continue this relationship after what he did. He's trying hard to take initiative again and be closer to me, but it feels like it's too late. How can I handle this? I'm giving him hope with this therapy, while considering breaking things off because of the engagement thing. Can I forgive this and move on? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Don't help. Trust your gut. If after 6 years together he's not ready to make you his partner for life, he may never be. And you'll be waiting around for nothing. He already told you how he felt. And at that point, while I can absolutely see his argument about being too young, he lacks the balls to have an honest discussion with you about timelines. At this point, it seems like he's honestly just still with her out of a sense of complacency rather than love for her or desire to maintain or further the relationship. He probably only proposed to her because he felt like she would leave him if he didn't. We all deserve partners who want to be with us, not partners who just don't want to do the work of finding somebody new. Agreed. OP, it feels like he doesn't want to get married and just gave you a ring to get you off his back. I'll be really honest, you are 24. You are way too young to deal with his BS. You have your whole life in front of you. After 6 years, if he does not feel ready to marry, it's time to break up and focus on living your best life. Focus on your career, your friends, traveling, volunteering, hobbies. You do not want to settle, and you do not want to marry someone who is settling for you or marrying you just to get you off his back. After being married for 25 years, I can honestly say marriage is hard and beautiful, but it only works if both people are committed to one another, honest with one another, and communicate openly. At this point, move out and move on. Now for the update 7 months later. I figured I'd post an update to this. I read many comments and they really helped me. Thank you for sharing your experiences. They opened my eyes. So yeah, TLDR, he wasn't ready when he proposed. He won't admit it, but I'm pretty sure it was a shut-up ring. Which is sad, because I never really cared about marriage in the first place. We went to therapy, and I said the same things I'd written in the previous post. He struggled to answer any questions. Didn't really say anything that he hadn't before. The therapist suggested we could try living separately, but I think she could tell we were going to break up soon, LOL. I took a few days to think, but finally broke up with him about a week after writing the first post. and it kind of broke me to see his reaction. At first, he was really dramatic, constantly trying to make himself the victim. Something about us being a ship that's sinking, and I'm about to jump and give up, but he's still holding on tightly. Accused me of not giving him a chance now that he actually wants to do something and change. I had to remind him a few times that he's the one who broke my heart first. He lied for months and took the ring back. Then more dramatics, crying, etc. But the next day, everything was normal. He was behaving like nothing happened, no more fighting for the relationship or even being hurt. He said, "We're going to be good friends," and acted like nothing's happened. Over the next few days, I'd occasionally get comments like, "If anyone asks what happened, I can't say we broke up. I have to say you broke my heart and left me." Or, "At least you stopped pretending you love me." Other than that, no crying, no arguments. He was acting as per usual. It just broke my heart, again, to see how he didn't even try. That he really didn't care much. Shouldn't be surprised, really, yet here we are. I asked him 3 times to move out, gave him a deadline of 2 weeks. So 3 weeks since he took the ring back. He acted hurt, said, "Wow, I didn't expect you'd want to get rid of me so soon," but didn't really start looking. You know what actually made him get a flat and leave? My parents telling him to get lost because he lived here in their home this whole time. Without paying any bills, they took him in like a son. They told him to pack his stuff and never come back. Since then, he's been acting offended that they treated him like that and that he had to leave. He moved out yesterday. I helped him with moving. I'm on my own now after 6.5 years with that one man. New year, new me, I guess. But yeah, thanks to everyone who commented and read my story. Not gonna lie, I would love some encouragement. It feels like a part has been ripped from me. I need to know this feeling will go away. P.S. He found the first post and read the comments. He wanted to post his own comment to show his side of things, but thankfully, he gave up LOL. The sheer freaking audacity of this guy. I'm going to have to tell people you broke my heart and left me. Week prior, he didn't even want to be engaged. F off. Doesn't want to commit, refuses to put any effort in the relationship, and also wants to lie after the fact to protect himself because he knew people would shame him for his behavior. All around selfish prick. I'm not surprised he doesn't even have the decency to tell the truth. All while living on her parents' dime. He really doesn't want to do adulting in any way. OP can thank her lucky stars for getting her out of that mess before the knot was tied. She is going to be so much happier in an actual partnership. And he is going to spend his life alone because he won't ever take the initiative to date anyone, and he'll blame it on her breaking his heart and dumping him. You dodged a major bullet. Your ex plays mind games, plays victim, won't take responsibility. You would have married a man-child. Congrats on putting yourself first. I know a few people like this. This lack of initiative is almost certainly a broader issue that is affecting his life pretty severely, which OP of course knew about, but she put up with it for years. The problem with having no initiative is that it's a condition that is very resistant to getting help and working on changing it. After 6.5 years with that one man, your relationship began when you guys were kids and have now grown up wanting different things. Breaking up is tough, but you are quite young, OP. There is a whole world out there waiting for you. Live your life, find a job you like, travel, and don't settle for someone who will not fight for you.